Welcome everyone. Good afternoon. Thank you for joining in today's webinar. Before we start the session, let me introduce myself and my organization. My name is Ratikant Pradhan and I am a full stack developer at SDRC, that is Siddha Development Research and Consultancy. SDRC is a social enterprise incorporated in the year 2010, committed to enabling social change initiatives by providing high quality, affordable, and customizable solutions. The core functions of SDRC includes research and advocacy, management systems, and capacity building. We use open source technologies to design paperless data flow systems that generates efficient and affordable insights. We work with government, UN organizations, and also civil society organizations. Today, we are going to discuss about Ionic Framework, an overview. If you have any questions, send it in the chat box. We will discuss in the questions and answer section. Okay. So what we're going to discuss today, we're going to discuss today the introduction to Ionic Framework, then what are the advantages and disadvantages of Ionic Framework, and how Cordova and Capacitor are helping in the process, then how Ionic Framework is framework agnostic, then how we install Ionic Framework, then how we start the project, how we run it, then how we finally deploy it to Google Play Store, Apple App Store, and all. So what are the challenges generally we face when we try to build an application, or we or the client or the end user, when we try to build the application, we try to cover maximum users. We have to build the application, we have to look at the user's comfortability. First, if we build the application for a browser, then some of our end user, they will come that they will ask, do you have a do you have an Android app for the application? Then we have to build the Android app. Then do you have iOS app, or do you have a desktop application? So we have to build the applications for different platforms. Then the challenge here is we have to use, when we are trying to build for the web, we have to use HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. And we are trying to build the application for Android, then we have to use Kotlin or Java language. Like that, for iOS, we use Swift or Objective-C, or for desktop, we use .NET, Swift, Java in the framework like WPS, Cocoa, and Swing. So challenges here are, we have to maintain multiple code bases. And though we have multiple code bases, we need multiple teams. We cannot expect a single team to work on these multiple frameworks. It's possible, but it is very difficult. And that's why it is time consuming. The process is time consuming, and which is not cost effective. So how do we overcome this challenge? There are frameworks which are helping us to overcome this. I have noted some. Ionic Framework is one of it, Flutter is one of it, React Native, and there are more also. These frameworks help us to build the code in a single, we will have a single code base in these frameworks, and we can export for different platforms like the web, mobile, the Android, iOS, and desktop. So in SDRC has successfully delivered more than 10 projects to the client like UNDP, IP Global, Medela, which is from Switzerland, then UNICEF, and Care India. Some of them are Android application, some of them are both Android and iOS, and some of them are the web applications, the progressive web applications. So what is Ionic Framework? It is a powerful cross-platform UI toolkit for building native quality iOS, Android, and progressive web app with HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So like you can see in the image, we export to these frameworks, these platforms. So what is the role of Cordova or Capacitor? So now we have got our code in HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and we got the Ionic flavor here. Then this Ionic and the HTML, CSS, JavaScript, this is our web application. Then Cordova and Capacitor, they're acting like a bridge and taking our web code and generating the application for iOS, Android, web, and desktop. So what are the advantages of Ionic Framework? So we can write once, like we have seen, and use it everywhere in all the platform. A single code base for iOS, Android, web, and desktop applications. It is free and open source. I had mentioned here the open source code of the Ionic Framework. Then the next advantages is we have got a lot of UI components. Let's have a look at the UI components. Here, ionicframework.com docs, then components. This is the URL. So we have got alert here, badge, and some more components. Let's look at one of the UI component, which is alert. So here, the UI components are on the left side, and if you can see, we got here iOS, Android option, and though it is an alert box component. So if we click on the show alert, we see the alert like this, which is the UI is looking like iOS style. And if you go to Android, then if you click on the show alert, the alert box is like Android. So you have to write a single code base. Here, this is just example of this is just example of how do we create the alert. Alert controller.create. This is the single code base, and Cordova and Capacitor, they export to different platform. When it is exporting to Android, it will look like Android UI component, and when it will export to iOS, it will look like iOS UI component. Let's look at some other UI components we have. Okay, we have badge, we have button. These are the normal components of mobile. Card, checkbox, chip, and floating action button, date and time picker, then item, menu, modal, popover, radio button. We have some more here. So this is one of the advantages. And what was our next advantage? It is we have plenty of plugins. We go to the native section, Ionic Framework, docs, then native. We have plugins here. Like you can see, we have camera plugin here, and we have file plugin, file transfer, file opener, and we have geolocation plugin here. So let's look at the code a little bit. Here, if you use Cordova, we have to use this command, Ionic Cordova plugin add Cordova plugin geolocation. Then if we use Capacitor, we have these commands. And the code is like you can see in the screen. We have to import that particular plugin. Then we have to just declare the plugin. Then we have to use geolocation.get current position. Like this, we can use it. And what is your next advantage? Strong community. We have a very good community in Ionic forum. It has its own forum, and we have Slack channel in Ionic, and we have we can ask in Stack Overflow. Stack Overflow has also a good community of Ionic framework. Then the concise documentation. Here again, if we go to the website, let's go to the alert itself. If you can see here, we have the documentation for Angular, for plain JavaScript, for React, for Stencil, and for Vue. So we have components here, and like I was also showing the native plugins. So they have very good documentation. So what is our next advantage, which is it is the Ionic framework. It's framework agnostic. It is a big advantage of Ionic framework. We can use Angular as a JavaScript framework, or we can use React, we can use Vue as a JavaScript framework here, or we can use no framework at all. We can use the plain JavaScript. They have written here, the build with your favorite framework. So the Ionic has also some disadvantages. Let's go to the performance first. When we build the when we try to develop the applications using Ionic framework, like data entry application, dashboard application, or general e-commerce application, then you will not feel the difference. If you build the application in a native using native framework or Ionic, you will not feel the difference. You will feel the difference when you try to build a game kind of application, or augmented reality application, or some 3D application. You will feel Ionic framework applications are a little bit lagging than compared to the native framework applications, because Ionic framework we are developing in the browser. Like we're taking the HTML, CSS, JavaScript code, we're rendering it in the browser, like WebKit. Then another disadvantage is absence of hot reload. Generally, when we do development, we expect that the portion of code we are changing in the IDE, that portion of code, that portion of UI should be reflected in the mobile or in the web. But what happens in Ionic? The whole page get refreshed. Suppose we are we're changing some code base, then the whole page will get refreshed. Whereas in native Android or Flutter, if you go, then they have the hot reload feature. When we change something in the code, that portion of UI only get reflected. So let's go to the installation part. How do we install, or how do we start the project? So the prerequisite here is Node.js, and this is the command npm install png ionic cli ionic@ionic/cli. This is the command by which we install Ionic into our system. Then we can create the project by Ionic start. So I have already, I do have a demo which I have created. I have run this Ionic start command. Here Ionic start, it asks me for the framework. Which framework do you want to choose? Do you want to choose Angular or React? So I have chosen the Angular here, but you can choose React. For the Vue, I guess you have to set manually. So I have already created the project because it generally takes time, 2 to 3 minutes or 5 minutes, depending upon the internet speed. That's why I have created the project. I have added the libraries, and let's look at the code. So I hope my screen is visible. So if you see, this is just a basic Angular project. If you're familiar with the Angular, this is just a basic Angular project. If you use React, then the folder structure will be alike to React. So we have package.json, we have angular.json, and we have our SRC folder. Then inside the SRC folder, we have app sets and index.html. And this is just the Angular structure. Though component based, our root component, we have got here app component, and we have root module, app module here, and we have the app routing module here. And in the app routing module, we have used only one page, which is hello, am I audible? Okay. Unable to see screen and voice. Okay. Let me share the screen again. Okay, the screen sharing is on. Jagat is saying, okay, fine now. So you can see my screen and you can hear me also. Okay, so here we have a single page. I was saying we have a single page here, the register page. Let us look at our register page. We have our HTML here. We have our TypeScript, which is a superset of JavaScript. It is here. This is the register page .ts here, and we have our SCSS here, and we have our individual module. We are using lazy loading by default in Ionic. So individual module here, and we have individual writing here. So let's go to the HTML code. So for header, we are using the Ionic tag, Ionic header, Ion header. And for content, we use the Ion content tag. And for footer, we have not used here, but we can use Ion footer, Ion content, Ion header, and Ion footer. So I have used reactive form of Angular, and I have declared the form group here. Let me sort the application so that we can see it on the browser. So Ionic serve is the command to sort the application or to see it in the browser. While developing, you can see it in the browser, but if you want to run it on Android device, then you have to use different command. Some feature you can develop in browser, but when it is coming to a very native feature, like you take the location of Android, then you have to go to native or some other native feature. But the location camera, still you can use the browser. So it is the application. So these are the field: roll number, name, address, location, mobile number, then email and photo. Here in the roll number section, if you see, this is of, we have got Ion item here, and it is the Ion input. It is equivalent to our input type equal to text of HTML, and Ion label, which is roll number, and this div describes this is the error div. If you have any error, then we're showing it in here. So validation messages. Let me show you the validation messages. Here is a validation message. Roll number is mandatory, so it is type required. Roll number is required. So we see the error messages in this div, and this is generally the input type text. Like roll number, we have name, we have address, and we have location. In the location, we have used a button here. If you see in the browser, here is a button, location button. Location button, when you click on the button, we fetch the location, current location of the browser. And when it is coming to Android, we have to we fetch the location of we fetch the current location through Android device. So here is the mobile number. Here is email. Then finally we have the photo. This is the HTML code. similar to HTML tags, like your ion item, ion label, ion button. So let's look at the TypeScript page. Initially, we have imported the dependencies from Angular core. These are from the Angular form. Then the plugins from Capacitor, these 3 lines. We have used camera plugin for the photo. We have used geolocation plugin to fetch the current location. And this is a class. And these are the validation messages of different field. If you see here in email, we have used 2 type of validation. One is required and one is pattern. These are all Angular codes. If you would have used React, then the React codes will be here. Then we have the ng on init. This is initialization method. So here we have initialized the fields. We can give the default value and the validations we have given here. And in the pattern for email, we have given the regex. This is the onSubmit method. When we submit the form, this method will be called. Like if you can see here, onSubmit is ng submit onSubmit. Then we have upload photo, which is take photograph option. Then we have here in upload photo, we have used camera. Camera is the plugin. Then camera.get photo. And here in the line number 62, we have options we can give, we can pass. Here we have passed, we need base 64 image. So the library has given us the base 64 image. Then here in the location, like the camera, we have used geolocation plugin, geolocation.get current position. And we have given the options here. Enable high accuracy is false. We generally don't use the high accuracy true. If we really need it to be, the location should be highly accurate, then we should give it true, and it drains our battery also. We should avoid if it is not needed. So we have given the options here. Then we get the location, latitude and longitude. That's it. Let's fill up the form. Sorry. Rule 1, 2, 3. Name. Address is Bhubaneswar. Location. Let's take the location. I have clicked on the location button and it has given me the location. By default, the location will not come. Here the browser will ask for permission, whether you want to give the permission to this website or not. If you give the permission, then the browser will give you the location. Here we have allow, ask, default, blog. We have options here like that. We have camera options. It is allowed because I have used it earlier. That's why it is allowed. If I will just do it, ask default. It is saying to reload. Okay. So let me see the mobile number and the email. And finally the photo. See, this is asking use your camera. Allow. Okay. We can see, we can take the picture from here, or we can take it from our library. Option. And we finally, the submit data button, it was disabled by before, it is now enabled. So what I did, I switched on the developer console. Then if you do submit data, we get our data here. Address, email. Now we can take this data. We can save it in the local storage. We have plugins to save it in the local storage, SQLite database in the mobile, or IndexedDB in the browser, or we can send it to browser. Sorry, we can send it to server for further processing. So this is how we enter the data. Let's export this application to Android device. Let's run it in Android. So to run it in Android, we have to add the platform. Not in all cases, we don't need all the platform, but in some cases we initially need the Android platform, then we need iOS platform, then we need desktop, or then finally we need browser. So the platform we need to add it to our project. Suppose initially we need the Android platform. So this is the command npx cap add Android. This is the command by which we add the Android platform to our project. And for the iOS, npx cap add iOS. For Electron, npx cap add Electron. Electron we use to develop the desktop applications. So, and we run, the run commands are in the bottom. So npx cap open Android. When we do npx cap open Android, then the application, our code, it will be converted to the native Android code, and the Android Studio will be opened like that. In iOS, in case of iOS, our code will be converted to iOS code, and the Xcode will be opened. In Electron, similarly, we get the desktop application. So let's add the platforms and run the platform. So about the addition, we have I have already added the platform because it is also it will also take 2 to 3 minutes or 5 minutes depending upon the internet. I have already added the platform Android, iOS, and Electron. About the web, we don't have to add any platform for the web. You just have to take the www folder generated. We have to take the content of www folder and deploy it in the server as a static application. So let's look at the Android now. Here, if you can see the folders, we have Android folder in the root here, and we have iOS folder, we have Electron folder. I have added these platforms. That's why these folders are here. So I have added the platform to add the platform. We have command npx cap add Android. I have already done that. The next command is npx cap open Android, to open the Android code in so all I'm trying to describe here, how we are using Ionic Framework to take our existing web skill. We develop the application in web frameworks, then we deploy it to multiple platforms. We want Android project, we want Android application, we have got it. We want iOS application, we have got it. We want desktop application, we have got it. Then we want web application, we have got it, like web browser. So here it is opening the Android Studio. And here we can see our native code. Okay. Java main activity. This is our main activity. Let me run this code in my mobile. My mobile is connected here, and I have installed Visor so that I can show you the mobile screen. Here is the Visor. Let me run it. Like we do now, the control has come to Android Studio. We can treat this project as a native project. Now Gradle build is running. It should not take much time. Meanwhile, let's see if we have any inputs. Voice issue. I hope you can see my mobile screen. Okay, here we have got it. the same application here. If you switch on the, if you get the location, if you click on the location, we can get the location. It will ask for the permission, and here is the location, and you can turn on the camera and take the photo. I guess it will ask for the option, yeah, take picture or from the photos. So you can take a picture or choose from the gallery. So this is how we run it in Android. And now let's see how we run it in iOS. So I do not have an iOS hardware. I can show it in iOS simulator. So the same type of command. npx cap open Android here. npx cap open iOS. So now it is opening the Xcode workspace. Build up succeeded. Let me change the device to iPhone 8 Plus simulator. Building up, building 14 of 17 tasks. Build succeeded. It is launching the application. It will take 20 to 30 seconds, I guess. Yeah, now the simulator is on, and this is the splash screen, normal splash screen. You can change it when you do the real application. This capacitor's default splash screen. And here in the Xcode, you have got the console. You can take the location, and you can upload the photo from here also. Take pictures from photos. And finally, let's run for npx cap open electron. If you can see in the center, we have got the desktop application. This is the small splash screen, and here is our desktop application. This one. It is written electron here. You can customize. By default, the developer is on. At the time of build, we can switch. It is on. So this is how we can export, or we can run the application for multiple platform. For the web, I have not shown you. For the web, if you can see here, there is a www folder. After you do Ionic build or Ionic build prod, Ionic build prod. This is for production build. So this www folder will be generated, and all the application will be present here. So all the files related to the application will be present here. You just have to take it. And deploy it in your server like a static applications. So there you got the web application. I have already deployed the application in Firebase. So Firebase is giving free deployment. So I have used the Firebase to deploy this project. I have used Firebase init command. Then I have used the Firebase deploy command to deploy to the Firebase. If you can see, we have Firebase configurations here, configuration file here, firebase.json, and we have the application name is, this is the application ID. Some DDA BD. Let's go to the browser. You can see that https:// web.app. This is deployed in Firebase. It's actually, you all can access this application. Let me put it in the chat box. Everyone, okay. You can access that in mobile application or browser. It is deployed in Firebase. The application is not on yet. Should not take this much time to load this Firebase application. Come on. Yeah. Choose application. So we can take the location, we can upload the photo, we can fill out the form and submit. So this is it. Now we have exported for 4 platforms, and so what is left? Final the deployment, production deployment. The production deployment is similar to we deploy in our native applications. Like in Android Studio, what do? We go to build, we build bundles, build APKs, build bundles, .apk, .aav file. We can do that. We can generate the sign bundle APK. This is our native code. So we can do it as a native way. Then similarly, we get to Xcode. We can choose here generic device. Then we can go to product, then we can archive, then we can sign the IPA file and publish it to the App Store. Then our web application, like I have shown you, we have to take the content of www folder and we have to deploy it as a static project. So these are all from my side. If you have any questions or if you have any doubt, you can ask. Thank you. So let's go to the chat section. Okay, npx command is from Capacitor. If you install the latest Ionic, Capacitor comes with that. Jagat asked this question. So npx command is available. It is from Capacitor. npm will not work in Capacitor. Yes, npm will work. What should be the command of npm? Npm cap, they have done the commands. Commands are npx cap add Android and npm cap open Android, run Android. I have not tried npm, but the command in the Capacitor library, it is written that to run the project or to add the platform, you have to run this command npx cap add Android. I have not tried with npm these commands, but we can do run like we install the Ionic, like we can run npm commands. Npm is a node command, so we can, if you go to package.json, you can define your own script and you can do npm command, npm run this, npm run that, npm run Android. Within that, we can within that particular script, you can write the npx command. You can do npm command, there is no problem. But for Capacitor, we generally in the Capacitor library, it is defined that you use npx cap add Android to add a project. I have not tried npm cap add Android. Okay, can I please another slide? Which number? Subhendu, which number? Slide number? Okay, let me play. Which one? Could you please give me a description? All slide. Okay. Can you please the slide? Share the slide. Do you mean share the slide? Okay, okay. I will talk to the team. Maybe we will share it to your the Gmail to email to where you have registered. Okay. Differences. See, Ionic 3, Ionic 4, Ionic 5. Ionic 5, Ionic 3 to Ionic 4. They have it from Ionic 3 to Ionic 4. They have made the frameworks loosely coupled. In Ionic 3, it was difficult to do in React, but in Ionic 4, they have made the framework specific, like JavaScript framework specific. Now they have loosely coupled Ionic. So if you want to use Angular, it is flexible. You can use Angular. If you want to use React, if you can use React. If you want to use Vue, you can. This Angular, React, Vue, all the JavaScript library, you can flexibly use from Ionic 4. So in Ionic 4, it was a major change. And they have introduced Capacitor. Cordova is from Apache and Capacitor is from Ionic team. So they have made their own bridge so that they will have more flexibility. That Capacitor they have introduced from Ionic 4. So you will have more flexibility in Capacitor, and it is a recommended bridge for Ionic from Ionic 4. So in Ionic 5, they have changed some animation related. They have upgraded some animation and all. That's it. These are the major difference between Ionic 4 and Ionic 3. The performance is better in Ionic 4 and 5 than 3. They have made a major performance improvement for Ionic 4 and 5. Recordings and PPT. I was not sure about the PPT, but we will share the recording we will upload it in our YouTube channel and we will share the link. Is PWA and Ionic? Joking, I hope I answered your question. Ionic 3, 4, 5. The major performance they have done, and they introduced Capacitor and they made it flexible for the frameworks. And the recordings we will be sharing. We will be uploading the recording in the YouTube channel, and maybe we will share the PPT. It's PWA and Ionic are different tools. Okay, Ionic helps us to build PWA. Now Angular has given a very good library to export PWA applications. Ionic helps to generate PWA. It's Ionic and Ionic and PWA are different tools. Yes, they are different tools. PWA just add the flavor of how we can use our application offline, how we can make it reliable, how we can make it fast. And Ionic's motto is different. Ionic motto is to export to native applications, like to export your code to Android, iOS, desktop, and to browser. The motto of Ionic is that. The motto of PWA is how you can access your website as an application. So PWA is completely a browser application. It means it is taking the page, making a small application, and keeping it in the home screen. And Ionic is using Cordova. It is converting your total web code. It is converting your total web code to native code. PWA is not doing that. PWA is just giving you access to the website from the home screen, and you can access it offline. It is storing in the browser cache or somewhere. I'm not sure exactly. It is not converting your code to desktop, means native application, but Ionic is doing that. Ionic is helping to do that. And how about upgrade one version to another version? How about upgrade one version to another version? I mean Ionic 3 to, yeah, there are migration what is it called, migration documents. There are migration documents present in the Ionic website. We can follow that. We can do that easily. There will be no problem. If you face any big challenge in migrating, then that will be solved. You will not face any major challenge. There are content available in the website. You can follow the migration guide and migrate it. Robin's Android. For a REST API enabled app, it is possible to have a cross-platform mobile app Ionic for data push and pull activities. Yeah, REST API enabled app, REST API enabled backend app. Is it possible to have a cross-platform mobile app Ionic for data push and pull activities? Yes, it is very suitable. If you have a REST API in the backend, it is very suitable. You can make the these applications and just do the HTTP call to push or pull the data from the server or to the server. Which one is the stable version? Ionic 5. Ionic 5 is stable now. It is latest and stable. Jagya, Ionic 5 is the stable version now. You can use Ionic 5 with capacitor, and you can you have still you have the Cordova support also. Like in Android, we are using Kotlin and Java. We are using Kotlin is the recommended. You can use Java. Still like that, you can capacitor is recommended. You can still use Cordova. Guys, thank you for asking questions. Is there any more question? Thank you, Shubhendu. Okay, if there is no more questions, we can wrap the session. Please share your feedback. Okay, Sarita. Okay. Thank you, everybody. Bye.